Greetings once more. As your presenter, I invite you, our astute audience, to embark with me on a journey through time, a critical examination of how the very landscape of diabetes management, particularly for individuals in your demographic, has undergone a fundamental scientific metamorphosis. Consider for a moment, if you will, the era just a few decades past. What comes to mind when you recall the prevailing wisdom surrounding diabetes and lifestyle? Do you remember the dietary prescriptions? Perhaps you, yourselves, navigated a culinary world defined by stark prohibitions. The prevailing sentiment often dictated an almost complete abdication of carbohydrates, a rigid adherence to sugar-free labels, and a pervasive fear of virtually any food that could elevate blood glucose. Was your plate, like many, often dominated by lean protein and non-starchy vegetables, in portions meticulously measured, under the stern guidance of a diet sheet that seemed to strip away all joy from eating? The philosophy then was largely one of strict limitation. Starve the sugar, control the glucose. The understanding of macronutrient distribution, the nuances of glycemic index, or the individual metabolic response was, dare I say, more nascent. You might have been advised to avoid fruits, to shun whole grains, or to consume artificial sweeteners with an almost religious fervor, believing these were the paramount strategies for glycemic regulation. And what about exercise? Do you recall the generalized recommendations? Often, the emphasis was placed on cardiovascular activities, brisk walking, jogging, perhaps even high-impact aerobics, for a set duration several times a week. While well-intentioned, the advice frequently lacked the personalized precision we now understand to be crucial. Was your regimen designed with a deep understanding of your specific insulin sensitivity, your individual muscle fiber types, or the complex interplay between physical activity and endogenous glucose production? Or was it a more universal directive, applicable to a broad spectrum of individuals, without significant consideration for the unique physiological demands of someone navigating diabetes in their mid-40s and beyond? The focus was primarily on burning calories and improving cardiac health, sometimes overlooking the profound metabolic shifts that targeted exercise could induce. This historical approach, while rooted in the scientific understanding of its time, often inadvertently led to a sense of deprivation, confusion, and sometimes even a lack of sustained adherence for you, the individual attempting to manage your condition. You might have found yourself trapped in a cycle of strict compliance followed by frustration, perhaps wondering why, despite your best efforts, achieving optimal glycemic control remained an elusive goal. The scientific rationale underpinning these early recommendations was often simplistic, viewing diabetes primarily as a failure of glucose processing, rather than a multifaceted metabolic disorder influenced by a complex web of genetic, environmental, and lifestyle factors. Our understanding of insulin resistance, the role of inflammation, and the intricate signaling pathways within cells was still developing. But what if I told you that much of this foundational advice has undergone a profound reevaluation, driven by decades of rigorous scientific inquiry and technological advancement? What if the very principles you once held as immutable truths have been refined, even revolutionized, to offer a more nuanced, effective, and empowering path forward? In our next segment, we will delve into the scientific breakthroughs that have reshaped our understanding, preparing you to explore the contemporary methodologies that promise a more holistic and sustainable approach to living well with diabetes. Indeed, you might have wondered if those former truths, the dietary mandates and exercise directives you once meticulously followed, still hold the same scientific weight. And to answer that, we must acknowledge a profound truth. The scientific community, driven by relentless inquiry and an insatiable quest for deeper understanding, has peeled back layers of complexity, revealing a far more intricate and dynamic picture of diabetes. This isn't merely an update, it's a reimagination, a revolution in how we, and by extension, you, approach daily management. Consider, if you will, the very concept of insulin resistance, a cornerstone of type 2 diabetes. You once heard of diabetes as simply a failure to process glucose effectively, perhaps a problem with your pancreas not producing enough insulin, or your cells not responding adequately. But have you delved into the intricacies of what not responding adequately truly entails at cellular level. Our understanding has advanced significantly beyond this surface-level explanation. We now scrutinize the intricate signaling pathways within your cells, examining how insulin receptors communicate, how glucose transporters like GLUT4 are recruited to the cell surface, and how chronic inflammation, often subtle and systemic, can disrupt these precise mechanisms. This isn't just about glucose. It's about understanding the intricate dance of cytokines, free fatty acids, and oxidative stress that can impair insulin sensitivity even before overt symptoms manifest. Do you see how this granular understanding moves us beyond simple cause and effect to a network of interconnected biological processes? And what about your body's remarkable capacity to adapt its fuel sources? The concept of metabolic flexibility has emerged as a critical insight. For years, the focus was almost exclusively on carbohydrate metabolism. Yet, we now understand that a metabolically flexible individual can efficiently switch between burning glucose and burning fat for energy, a process crucial for maintaining stable blood glucose levels and overall energy homeostasis. Are your cells adept at utilizing both macronutrients, or do they predominantly rely on one? This newfound appreciation for fuel partitioning informs much of our contemporary dietary advice, moving beyond blanket prohibitions to a more nuanced approach that encourages your body to become more adaptable. Perhaps you've also begun to hear whispers or even robust discussions about the profound influence of your gut microbiome. Did you ever imagine that the trillions of microorganisms residing within your digestive tract could exert such a significant impact on your glycemic control, your insulin sensitivity, and even your inflammatory markers? We now recognize that the diversity and composition of your gut bacteria play a pivotal role in nutrient absorption, the production of short-chain fatty acids that influence metabolic health, and even the modulation of your immune system. The health of your microbiome, therefore, becomes an integral part of your overall diabetes management strategy, suggesting interventions far removed from the simple calorie counting of yesteryear. And what about physical activity? The narrative has profoundly shifted from purely caloric expenditure to one focused on enhancing insulin sensitivity through targeted muscle engagement. While cardiovascular exercise remains vital for cardiac health, we now place a substantial emphasis on resistance training. Have you considered your muscles not just as movers, but as powerful endocrine organs, capable of absorbing glucose from your bloodstream independent of insulin, particularly post-exercise? This understanding reframes exercise from a mere calorie-burning chore to a potent metabolic intervention, building lean muscle mass that acts as a glucose sink, improving your long-term glycemic regulation. This is a scientific leap from generalized recommendations to precise physiological benefits. These breakthroughs, from the subcellular nuances of insulin signaling to the macro-level impact of your gut's microbial residence, have fundamentally reshaped our understanding. They provide the scientific bedrock for the contemporary methodologies you now encounter, moving us away from a one-size-fits-all, restrictive paradigm to a more personalized, empowering, and physiologically informed approach. But how do these intricate scientific revelations translate into the practical, actionable strategies you can integrate into your daily lives? That, my friends, is the transformative journey we will embark upon next, exploring the modern dietary and exercise paradigms born from this advanced scientific insight. Now, let us seamlessly transition from the intricate tapestry of scientific discovery to the practical, actionable strategies that can profoundly reshape your daily life with diabetes. The profound insights we explored regarding cellular insulin signaling, metabolic flexibility, and the influence of your gut microbiome are not mere academic curiosities. They're the bedrock upon which contemporary diabetes management is built, offering you a more nuanced, effective, and ultimately more empowering path forward. consider first the revolutionary shift in dietary guidance. Do you recall the blanket prohibitions, the fear of entire food groups that once dominated the conversation? Today, the conversation has matured from rigid restriction to intelligent selection and personalization. We now understand that not all carbohydrates are created equal, and the focus has moved beyond simply counting grams to understanding the quality of your carbohydrate intake and its impact on your blood glucose response. Have you ever considered the concept of glycemic load, which factors in both the type and quantity of carbohydrates, offering a far more accurate predictor of your post-meal glucose surge than a glycemic index alone? This allows for a more flexible approach, empowering you to make informed choices about whole grains, specific fruits, and legumes, integrating them judiciously rather than banishing them entirely, thereby promoting a more varied and nutrient-dense diet. Furthermore, the emphasis has expanded to a holistic view of macronutrient balance, tailored to your individual metabolic needs. We recognize that optimal protein intake is crucial, not just for satiety, but for preserving lean muscle mass, that vital tissue we discussed earlier, which acts as a primary glucose sink. And what about fats? The demonization of all fats has given way to an appreciation for healthy fats, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated, for their roles in satiety, reducing inflammation and supporting overall metabolic health. Do you realize the power of healthy fats, like those found in avocados, nuts, and olive oil, in moderating the glycemic response of a meal when consumed alongside carbohydrates, thereby smoothing out those glucose peaks? This balanced approach fosters metabolic flexibility, training your body to efficiently utilize both glucose and fat for energy, a cornerstone of stable blood sugar. And speaking of personalization, have you explored the burgeoning field of personalized nutrition, often aided by tools like continuous glucose monitors, CGMs? Imagine being able to see, in real time, how your unique body responds to different foods, different meal timings, or even different stress levels. This immediate feedback transforms diabetes management from a guessing game into a precise science, allowing you to fine-tune your dietary choices and lifestyle habits with unprecedented accuracy. This isn't about following a universal diet sheet. It's about understanding your unique metabolic fingerprint and crafting an eating pattern that optimally supports your glycemic control and overall well-being. Now, let's turn our attention to physical activity, where the transformation of methodologies is equally profound. While cardiovascular exercise remains essential for cardiac health, the modern paradigm places a significant and often primary emphasis on resistance training. Why? Because we now fully appreciate that your muscles are not merely engines of movement, but powerful metabolic regulators. When you engage in resistance training, you are building and maintaining lean muscle mass, which directly enhances insulin sensitivity and increases your body's capacity to absorb glucose from the bloodstream, even independent of insulin, particularly in the post-exercise window. Have you considered your bicep, your quadriceps, as active participants in your glycemic regulation, working synergistically to keep your blood sugar in check? This redefines exercise from a purely caloric expenditure activity to a potent, targeted metabolic intervention. Moreover, the contemporary advice extends beyond structured workouts to encompass movement as medicine throughout your day. Do you find yourself sitting for prolonged periods? We now understand that breaking up sedentary time with short bursts of activity, a few minutes of walking, some bodyweight squats, or even standing stretches, can significantly improve insulin sensitivity and glucose uptake. This isn't about running a marathon. It's about integrating purposeful movement into the fabric of your daily routine, recognizing that every muscle contraction contributes to your metabolic health. The focus has shifted from sporadic, intense efforts to consistent, integrated activity that cultivates a state of perpetual metabolic readiness. These modern methodologies, born from rigorous scientific inquiry, empower you with a deeper understanding and more effective tools than ever before. They move us away from a one-size-fits-all, often restrictive, approach to a highly personalized, flexible, and physiologically informed strategy. But how do you, as an individual navigating the complexities of diabetes in your daily life, effectively integrate these advanced concepts? How do you translate these scientific advancements into tangible improvements in your glycemic control and long-term health, ensuring that the wisdom of today becomes the foundation of your well-being tomorrow? In our final segment, we will explore the practical implementation of these strategies, guiding you towards a truly empowered and sustainable approach to living well with diabetes. Now, having traversed the fascinating landscape of scientific discovery and explored the sophisticated methodologies that define contemporary diabetes management, the crucial question naturally arises: how do you, as an individual navigating the complexities of daily life, effectively integrate these advanced concepts into your personal routine? How do these nuanced understandings of cellular signaling, metabolic flexibility, and the gut microbiome translate into tangible, actionable steps that empower you to optimize your glycemic control and foster long-term health? This is where theory meets practice, where knowledge transforms into profound well-being. Let us begin with the practical application of our refined understanding of nutrition. You now appreciate that the conversation has evolved from rigid restrictions to intelligent, personalized choices. But how do you implement this? Consider leveraging the power of personalized nutrition tools, such as continuous glucose monitors, CGMs, if accessible to you. Have you explored how observing your unique glycemic response to specific foods, meal combinations, or even stress in real time can become your most powerful educational ally? This isn't about adhering to a generalized meal plan. It's about becoming a meticulous, data-driven scientist of your own metabolism. Work closely with a registered dietitian or certified diabetes educator who understands these modern principles. They can guide you in crafting an eating pattern that respects your cultural preferences, your lifestyle, and, most importantly, your unique metabolic fingerprint, ensuring that your protein, healthy fat, and quality carbohydrate intake are optimally balanced to support stable blood sugar and sustained energy. Do you realize that strategically timing your meals or even distributing your carbohydrate intake throughout the day based on your body's natural insulin sensitivity fluctuations can yield significant improvements in your post-meal glucose excursions? This level of precision was once a dream. Now it's an actionable reality for you. And what about nourishing your gut microbiome, that bustling inner ecosystem we discussed? This translates into a deliberate focus on dietary diversity, particularly incorporating a wide array of plant-based foods rich in prebiotics, the fuel for your beneficial gut bacteria. Have you considered integrating fermented foods like kefir, sauerkraut, or kimchi in your diet, not just for their unique flavors, but for the probiotic bounty? This isn't about a fleeting trend. It's about cultivating a thriving internal environment that actively contributes to your metabolic health, reducing inflammation, and potentially enhancing insulin sensitivity. You are, in essence, becoming the gardener of your internal flora, nurturing a landscape that supports your overall well-being. Transitioning to physical activity, the implementation of resistance training into your regimen is paramount. If you haven't already, have you considered consulting with a qualified exercise physiologist or a personal trainer experienced in working with individuals managing diabetes? They can help you design a safe and effective program that focuses on major muscle groups, gradually increasing intensity and resistance. This could involve bodyweight exercises at home, resistance bands, or free weights at a gym. Remember, your muscles are your most potent glucose disposal units, and engaging them consistently is a powerful, non-pharmacological strategy for improving insulin sensitivity and keeping your blood sugar in check. Have you ever considered setting aside just 15 to 20 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week, to actively challenge your muscles, knowing that each repetition is a direct investment in your metabolic future? Furthermore, the concept of movement as medicine throughout your day demands your active attention. If your lifestyle involves prolonged periods of sitting, have you explored simple strategies like setting a timer to stand up and move for 2 to 5 minutes every hour? This could be a short walk, some calf raises, or even gentle stretching. These activity snacks may seem minor individually, but cumulatively, they significantly reduce sedentary time, which is independently associated with improved glucose control and metabolic health. You are not just exercising. You are cultivating a lifestyle of perpetual motion, a continuous activation of your body's inherent glucose-regulating mechanisms. Beyond diet and exercise, a truly holistic approach to your diabetes management encompasses other critical pillars. Have you considered the profound impact of sleep quality on your blood glucose regulation? Inadequate or disrupted sleep can directly impair insulin sensitivity and elevate stress hormones, making glycemic control significantly more challenging. Similarly, chronic stress, often an overlooked factor, can trigger a cascade of physiological responses that elevate blood sugar. Exploring mindfulness practices, meditation, or even simply dedicating time to hobbies that bring you joy can be powerful allies in managing stress and, by extension, your diabetes. You are not just managing a condition. You are orchestrating a symphony of interconnected biological and psychological factors that shape your overall health. Ultimately, this journey is about empowerment through understanding. It's about moving beyond the directives of the past to embrace a future where you are an informed, proactive participant in your own health narratives. It's about recognizing that you possess the agency to make choices guided by cutting-edge science that profoundly impact your quality of life. The landscape of diabetes management has indeed transformed, offering you more nuanced, effective, and sustainable strategies than ever before. But how do you sustain this commitment, integrate these evolving insights, and continue to thrive, adapting to new discoveries as they emerge, ensuring that your journey with diabetes is one of continuous improvement and vibrant living? This ongoing adaptation, my friends, is the true essence of empowered self-care.